Anal sex is no longer seen as taboo as it once was, and the stereotypical ideologies that only homosexual men engage in such activity is crazily out of date. Many heterosexual couples enjoy engaging in it too. In fact, as far as stats are concerned, it's like 1 in 4 women in heterosexual relationships that openly admit to enjoying anal sex. And yeah, okay, it's not the majority, but a shift in attitudes. When it comes to anal, people have a lot to say about it, which goes some way towards creating all the inaccurate myths that fly about, and in some ways does more damage than good. In this video, I'm going to be talking about anal in its entirety. I'm going to try not to leave anything out. Welcome to Share Thoughts. I am Cheryl, and these are my thoughts. Anal sex has always been one of those subjects that instantly divides the room. Some are open about it and are quite free with admitting their love for it, whilst others literally coil in disgust at the mere mention of it. The fact that anal sex has always been a massively popular category in porn also makes sense. It plays off the fact that, for the most part, anal sex was seen as taboo, dirty, or only associated with homosexual activity. So when it comes to porn and you're seeing not only homosexual men, but also women receiving anal sex, interests have piqued and curiosity is definitely aroused. So why is it so taboo? I believe our thoughts on anal sex are often solidified from early on and without intention necessarily. So when you think about it, as a child, you're taught that your bum is dirty. You know, it's only meant for having a poo, disposing of waste. You know, it's smelly, it's a smelly bum, that kind of thing. And that we mustn't touch our bums unless, of course, we're wiping them or we're cleaning them in the shower or the bath. Your bum is kind of presented as an area that you just don't have anything to do with other than to get rid of waste. Very quickly, we learn not to mention our bums in public. As children, we learn that real fast. And when it comes to disrespect, God forbid you're called an arsehole. This literally meant you are unclean, you're dirty, and yeah, you're just disgusting. That's what being called an arsehole basically implies. This anal taboo definitely shaped the way a lot of people view gay men. And sad to say is what contributed hugely to homophobia and prejudice. When you're being taught that your bum is dirty and you don't touch it, but then you're presented with this idea that people actually have sex in the bum, the two kind of contradict each other, and your teachings or what you've been taught growing up generally override taboo or forbidden sex is a common sexual fantasy. The mere idea of doing something that is unusual or wrong can be a huge turn on for many. Of course, anal sex is neither of those things, but if it's not the norm for you, or if you've been raised with certain views, then indeed the act itself can be seen as such. So why the change? I think people are just getting over themselves. And when I say that, I mean people are realizing there is more to sex than just penis in vag intercourse. Even porn viewing stats show us that searches for anal sex have increased online tenfold. In the same way oral sex used to be viewed as taboo, but is now almost a competition amongst friends over how many times you've been eaten out or how many times you've had your dick sucked in some circles, I kind of want to say anal sex is heading the same way. TV shows often allude to it, and music artists often refer to anal play, not necessarily penetration, but there's a lot of references to things that you can do with your bum. For example, think of Nicki Minaj's Anaconda. She's talking about tossing her salad like her name romaine. Now, for anybody that knows or doesn't know what tossing the salad consists of, that is basically someone eating your ass. There are lots of reasons why someone might want to engage in anal sex. Anything from trying to avoid pregnancy through vaginal intercourse, but still achieving an orgasm. We're going to come to that. Or simply just wanting to be experimental and explore pleasure. There really is no one reason fits all. Okay, so about that anal orgasm thing, let me give you some facts. Your anal area is a major erogenous zone for both men and women. There are nerve endings galore in that vicinity. 'Tis true that an orgasm can be reached. We've all heard that, dudes, you got a free up, man, your G-spot's in your ass or whatever. But the reality is, it's pleasurable for both men and women. Whilst many understand that cisgendered men and people assigned male at birth can orgasm quite easily through anal penetration because it directly stimulates the prostate gland, which ultimately results in immense pleasure. In fact, prostate orgasms are, or can be, so intense that it can literally cause ripples through your body. Now, you know I'm never one to tell you what to do, but what I will say is if I had a prostate, I would definitely be exploring that avenue, just saying. For cisgendered women and people assigned female at birth, anal sex can actually hit 2 spots, the G spot and the A spot. Both of which are located along the vaginal wall, but can actually be indirectly stimulated through anal penetration. Like the prostate, these spots, the G spot and the A spot, have the potential to produce, hold up, full body orgasms. Rubbing them just right could result in the thing that I believe most men try and work towards, and that's squirting. I'm not trying to push this idea of having anal sex if that's not what you want to do. I always maintain consent is key. It must be something that you want to do. Never, ever, ever feel pressurized into doing something that you don't want to do. That is key. That is my baseline for anything. Ironically, there is a lack of emphasis on female orgasms in general. We know when it comes to heterosexual penetrative sex, there is a huge gap where most women don't orgasm through penetration alone. That's another video. I've spoken about that a billion times before. I'll probably address that again in another video. But ironically, 90% of women that have anal sex claim they orgasm every single time. So it looks as though the fact that you can hit 2 spots going in anally, that might be what you need. I don't know. I feel like that's a pretty decent success rate, if you ask me. If you're a woman and you're toying with the idea of having anal sex, that could be the deciding factor. 90% success rate versus, I don't know, what is it, like 30% penis and vag penetration or something crazy like that? My stats are probably off, but yeah, it's low. The thing is, you have no idea how pleasurable something can be until you explore it. And again, I'm not here to try and push people into doing something that they're not comfortable with. For those people that do want to try anal, I don't feel like they should be judged. Like, let people do what they're doing as long as they're consenting adults and they're not hurting anybody. Like, what do we have to say? I feel like the reality is anal sex can offer a completely different sensation to any other type of sex. As with any kind of sex, there has to be some benefit. If there's bags of people out here doing it and screaming it from the rooftops, it's the best thing since sliced bread, then there must be something. There's got to be some benefits, and there are. For instance, where men are concerned, prostate stimulation can actually help with erectile dysfunction, but also painful ejaculation. When you think about sex and well-being in general, anal sex still counts as sex, so we can consider the usual benefits of sex as applicable here, and they include lowering the risk of heart disease and hypertension and even strokes, better sleep. Who doesn't need more sleep or better sleep? It can potentially give you a stronger immune system, headache relief. It can boost libido, make you want even more sex. If you've got menstrual cramps, we know that other kinds of sex can help, so anal sex might be what you need too. And just an overall happier mood, a nicer disposition. I think it's important for me to mention the need to be careful when you're engaging in anal sex. There is a higher risk of STI transmission, especially for the person that's being penetrated, because the skin in the rectal area is very delicate and easily broken, which makes one susceptible to more infections. When engaging in anal sex, as with any other kind of sex, make it safe. Use condoms, use barrier protections, and use lube. But when it comes to anal sex, there's a greater need for lube because the anus doesn't self-lubricate like a vagina. So you need extra wetness to make sure that you can slip in and move about and cause the least amount of friction. Also, an important one, if you've got a vagina, avoid cross-contamination if you're using sex toys. So even though we see it on porns where it goes out of the arse into the vag, don't do that. That's the quickest way of getting an infection or a bout of BV. The bacteria in your bum should not be in your vagina and vice versa. And if you're having sex with someone with a penis and they want to put it in your bum and then in your vag, you say, no, honey. And if they are going to do that, or if they want to do that, then that's a condom swap. Okay, so if you are curious about anal sex and you don't know where to begin, you're just like, oh, I don't know if I could take a full willy in my bum, or I don't know if I could take a whole dildo up there. Experiment first. Try rimming or inserting a finger up there. A lot of people enjoy a finger. They might not go further than just a finger, but a finger in your bum can stimulate you. Make sure you're clean beforehand, stands to reason. Also, I think it's important to consider the fact that there might be a little bit of mess. You are, of course, tampering with the back door, and as we know, that's where poo sits. You know, just be aware that accidents can happen, and if you're not someone that could deal with that as a potential, don't do it. Maybe stay away. I said it before, I'm going to say it again. Use lube. Use a lot of lube. Use protection. Use a condom. And I think if it's your first time or you're exploring, go slow. I would say maybe try different positions too. Again, like with penetrative sex, when it comes to vaginal sex or penis in vag sex. Different positions do different things. And relax. I think, again, when it comes to sex, being relaxed is so underrated. Being relaxed and being tensed can literally be the thing that either gives you an orgasm or not. Same thing here. If you're tense, you're not going to enjoy it regardless of how it comes at you. If you feel any pain, I would say stop immediately. Pain ain't where it's at. Anal might feel a bit strange, but it shouldn't hurt. And if it's not feeling good, stop. Yeah, I think anal toys are a good way of dipping your toe in the water, if you like. You can start with a small butt plug just to kind of get the feeling of something being there. Or you can use an anal training kit, that sounds quite technical, to work your way up to a penis or a full-size dildo. If you're both interested in being penetrated, because again, this is something that happens in heterosexual relationships as well. Guys do enjoy being pegged. Plenty of them will never admit it, but they do. You can share the love with a strap-on, but be sure to make sure it's clean and it's sanitized before using on another person. Again, cross-contamination, minimize any risk of anything, just any nasties or lurgies, just, yeah, no. I think the most important takeaway here is, and I've said it before, is being fully consensual. Whatever you engage in, however you engage in it, as long as you're on board fully and it's a hard yes, we're good. Sex is about comfortability. It always should be about comfortability and, of course, pleasure. Keep it that way. Until next time, take care.